Hi everybody, good evening. In this video we're going to start taking a look at a text called the Book of the Cave of Treasures. And this text is about Adam and Eve and how after the fall that they were banished into what was called the Cave of Treasures. Now some people might think, well, that's not in our Bibles, but after studying and verifying all these extra biblical texts, we learned that our Bibles are really just the cliff notes to what truly happened to our past. And we know there's nothing new under the sun. That everything that was shall be. As Ecclesiastes 1:9 and 3:15 tell us, these are staples for understanding Yahuwah's word. Is that if Adam and Eve really were banished into a cave after the fall, it should make some kind of sense into prophecy, into Yahuwah's pattern for humanity. And you know what it does? Because they sinned into the fall in the sin nature, and that cave of treasures was a symbolism of being cast into outer darkness, being cast out of the kingdom where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. Right? So if you could kind of put that together, it does make sense why we should take this theology at least seriously. So in this video, I just want to cover the first day of creation. We're just going to take a look at the first paragraph from this text, and should we be able to take this text seriously? Let's see, because the wisdom we've gained throughout all the other texts that can be verified will help us verify new texts that we start looking into. I dabbled in this text years ago, but I only started looking into it again recently. And with all the wisdom I've earned and obtained or whatever, I actually find that at least all I've read was this first paragraph. But what we can find in this first paragraph alone, we should be taking very seriously. There's nothing wrong with it at all, and it gives absolutely more insight into what wisdom that has been gathered from the extra biblical text. So let's get into it and figure it out, okay? So here we are. We're talking about the first day of creation, okay? So we know the first day of creation is covered in the book of Jubilees, chapter 2. It gets into things that are a lot more detailed than what's in our standard Bibles. What we read in Jubilees can be confirmed in what the book of Enoch tells us. What we read in Jubilees can be confirmed in the hymns of thanksgiving scroll and these lost psalms of David. We see David wrote about this stuff, the same type of theology. So we know this is truth. And what we're about to read covers the same theology. So we know we should at least start taking, that we can take this text seriously just from this first paragraph alone. Okay, so let's check it out, and then we'll talk about it. In the beginning, on the first day, which was the holy first day of the week, the chief and firstborn of all days, God, okay, the Alpha and the Omega, right? Maybe the translation is not in line with Hebraic language. I think this is from Syriac or Greek or something. So, but we can still put the biblical theology together, right? The Alpha and Omega, right? Alright, the chief and firstborn of all days, God created the heavens and the earth, and the waters, and the air, and the fire, and the host, which are invisible. Okay, interesting. He created the waters, the firmament, the fire, that's interesting, and the hosts, which are invisible. And which is to say, the angels, the archangels, thrones, lords, principalities, powers, cherubim, and seraphim. And this is what the book of Jubilees tells us. On the first day of creation, all the spirits, all the powers and principalities were created right off the bat on the first day, along with light and darkness. A lot of stuff was created on the first day. And all ranks and companies of spiritual beings, and the light, and the night, and the daytime, and the gentle winds, and the strong winds, storms. Now, this is very interesting. We got to understand that biblical cosmology is flat Earth. None of this stuff makes sense, guys. if we're on a heliocentric model. None of it makes sense. Okay? So here we are, strong winds and storms. This is before the earth, the land of the earth was even created. This is before the sun, moon, and the stars were created, I believe. Everything that we're talking about is invisible, is a spiritual realm. So this could be our solar winds or gases that we see in the night sky, all that kind of stuff. Just because we believe in a flat earth model doesn't mean we deny what we see in our night sky. It's just not what it seems, The heliocentric model does not exist. So, okay, let's continue. All of these were created on the first day. Okay? Now, let's just leave it at that. Let's just read what Jubilees tells us about the first day. So let's verify this, okay? Here we are in the book of Jubilees. For on the first day he created the heavens. We're in Jubilees chapter 2, verse 2. For on the first day he created the heavens which are above, and the earth and the waters, and all the spirits which serve before him, okay? The angels of the presence, the angels of sanctification, the angels of the spirit of fire, and the angels of the spirit of the winds, the angels of the spirits of the clouds, and of darkness, and of snow, and hail, hoarfrost, and the angels of the voices, and of the thunder, and of the lightnings. Okay? And it goes on. It's not saying snow and hail and thunder and lightning were created. It's saying that the angels that orchestrate these things in the spiritual realm were created. And this is exactly what the book of Enoch tells us, that everything, all the elements of the earth, I don't care, wind, rain, snow, thunder, lightning, is all orchestrated. There is a spirit behind each thing, and it's orchestrated through a spirit behind that thing in the spiritual realm. And so the spiritual realm was created in the first day. Let's just continue reading. And the angels of the spirits of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, and of summer, and all the spirits of his creatures which are in the heavens and on the earth. Okay, so we're getting a verification here. We have two good witnesses, the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees. The book of Jubilees, there are discrepancies in the text because it has not been, it's translated from the Greek, but there are hidden we know that originally this text is inspired, and I wholeheartedly believe originally Moses wrote this text as it says he did, because you could hear his narration tone. You could hear it was the same author who wrote the 5 books of Moses in our standard Bibles. You could hear his writing style in the book of Jubilees. So God created the abysses and the darkness, the evening tide and night, and the light, dawn and day, which he has prepared in the knowledge of his heart. Interesting. He prepared all this in the knowledge of his heart. Okay? Very interesting. I'm going to take you to one of the lost Psalms of David we recently did, Psalm 177. And what do we learn here? But you, O Yahuwah, despise all Belial's schemes, all the devil's schemes. For here we go. For it is your counsel that shall stand, and the design of your heart to be established forever. I believe, unfortunately I didn't find it, but we recently saw in the lost Psalms of David that we understand that his creation, his end game plan, God's end game plan for his creation is to restore it from how it was at the very beginning. And that is in the shape, and that is in the form of his heart. Very interesting. So we see the same theology here in the lost Psalms of David that we're recovering. Same theology in the book of Jubilees. Okay, the book of Enoch confirms all this stuff. So what we're reading in the book of Cave of Treasures, hey, we can take this stuff seriously. We have more than enough concrete, reliable witnesses to start taking this stuff seriously and breathe in all this extra wisdom that our Bibles don't necessarily tell us. Very interesting. So let's continue reading because it gets really cool, actually, what the rest of this paragraph says. Now that we've established that we can take this text seriously, let's see what the rest of the text says because it gives astounding insight. Let's just read on. And on the first day of the week, the Spirit of holiness, one of the persons of the Trinity, hovered over the waters, and through the hovering thereof, over the face of the waters. Excuse me. And the waters were blessed, so that they might become producers of offspring, and that they became hot, and the whole nature of the waters glowed with heat, and the leaven of creation was united to them. Whoa. Okay. What does mainstream evolution tell us? Mainstream evolution, which we're not supporting here, we are creationists as Bible-believing followers of Christ, of Yeshua. But look at this. This is the same narrative that science tells us where we came from, except science gives that spin that, hey, we're just random nothingness. No, we're not random nothingness, but it seems like there's some truth to that primeval type of soup or whatever that were created in the waters. There seems to be a truth. It's not the narration that the world sells us, but there is truth in that. We can decipher that in that text, in this text right here. It's astounding, amazing. Very amazing, very amazing. As the mother bird, now here we go. This is very interesting. It gets even better. As the mother bird makes warm her young by the embrace of her closely covering wings, and the young birds acquire form through the warmth of the heat which they derive from her, so through the operation of the Spirit of holiness, I failed to look up what that word means. I meant to do that before I made this video. I apologize. The leaven of the breath of life, which is the Spirit of life, was united to the waters when he hovered over them. So it's saying, what does this remind you of, guys? This reminds you of what Yeshua said in Matthew 23. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how you kill the prophets and stone them which are sent unto you. How often would I have gathered your children together, even as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you would not. So we know that Yah wants his end game for his creation is to restore it as it was from the beginning. And here we have the symbolism of it's as a hen gathers her chicks, as a hen warms her chicks, so was the first day of creation, so was born the spiritual realm. It's astounding. And if, look, in all my studies, I'm learning that nothing is by happenstance. We serve a God of order, and his order is infinite, and everything he does is for a reason. As it was from the beginning, it will be to the end. Everything has a purpose. I don't think anything he does is just random happenstance. So this hen gathers her chicks in the birth of the spiritual realm, I believe we should take seriously. It's astounding, absolutely astounding theology and understanding in our creation of our existence, of who we are in this life, who we are on the earth, where we come from, the birth of the spiritual realm. It's very amazing, very astounding. So I don't know. That's pretty much the video, guys. Links will be in the description box below. I pray this was a blessing and an edification. Really cool. So I'm going to start reading this text, but right off the bat, this first paragraph. Hey, yes, we could. I believe we could take this seriously, and we're already learning astounding things, astounding truth that the world does not want us to know, hidden in the text, and we're unveiling, destroying Satan's schemes. Very amazing, very amazing. As a hen gathers her chicks, very, very beautiful, and I believe very true. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Have a good night.